Why doesn't the president just put them on trial, figure out which ones are guilty, and then he can decide whether or not to close it? Well, it's just not that simple, because the 61 detainees fall into 3 groups. 10 of them, including Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, are having their cases handled by a military commission. That is a legal process that we've basically invented from scratch, and it's so flawed that of its 8 convictions so far, 4 have been fully reversed on appeal. Now, another 20 of them are actually slated for release, but are waiting for the State Department, the intelligence agencies, and the Department of Defense to agree on a country to send them to. And that leaves us with the trickiest group, the remaining 31 detainees who have not been charged with a crime, but who are also not cleared to be released. And they are the real problem here, because even the president doesn't quite know what to do with them.
There's going to be a certain irreducible number that are going to be really hard cases, because we know they've done something wrong and they are still dangerous, but it's difficult to mount the evidence in a traditional Article 3 court. So we're going to have to wrestle with that.
Now, think about what he just said. That is the president, a man who has taught constitutional law, suggesting that for some detainees, there is no clear path toward a trial or an exit. Now, it's a group that the administration has called the irreducible minimum, which the president says it's difficult to mount the evidence. What he means there is, in some cases, there's not enough of it, and in others, it was obtained through torture. And there is a good reason that that is inadmissible, because people often say anything to make torture stop. If you gave me a purple nurple for just 10 seconds, I would look you in the eye and swear that my favourite cereal is Grape Nuts. And I'm fairly sure that that cereal's original name was Good Morning, Idiot, Eat Some Cat Litter. So, the point is, how does the president, who has spent nearly a decade promising to close Gitmo, plan to do that? Well, it turns out it all depends on what your definition of the word close is.
Closing Guantanamo at this stage, in the Obama administration view, is really moving Guantanamo to U.S. soil. The idea is to pick up the last detainees and move them to military detention in the United States, what we call Guantanamo North.
Yes, Guantanamo North, or as I'm sure it will be called once they build a Whole Foods there, Gitmo No. And look, moving Guantanamo is not closing it. But even that is not going to happen. There's been relentless congressional opposition to moving any detainees to US soil, and the people in charge of Gitmo seem to be settling in for the long haul. And the reason we know that is because a legal document from last month showed the current commander there, proposes renovating their infirmary as it will be beneficial to the continued care of the ageing population. So there might well be detainees that we scooped up as young men who we think are guilty, but who will never get a trial, and they will be there until they die. And at this point, we all have to ask ourselves, are we okay with that? And remember, it does seem that more than half of us are. But I would argue that any potential risk in putting detainees on trial, losing that case, and having to release them is worth it for a few important reasons. First, as it stands, we are ceding so much moral high ground that Vladimir Putin feels comfortable saying things like this.
They once said that they would close Guantanamo. And what? Is it closed? No. Today there's still people there walking in shackles. That is just medieval. Without a trial. These people stay in prison. Well, just imagine. It's incredible. Can you imagine if we did that here? I can't wrap my head